I went to pick up fast food the other day, walked right into a pole on the way out of the restaurant. Good times. The walls are starting to close in on Donald Trump. With each passing day, it's become clearer and clearer that the biggest potential impediment to the former president's return to the national political stage isn't political, it's legal. Consider what happened on just one day in January. First, in a court filing, New York Attorney General Latisha James said that her investigation into the Trump Organization had turned up a number of, quote, misleading statements and omissions, end quote, in tax disclosures and financial statements that were used to secure loans. As a result of those findings, James said she needs the former president, as well as Trump children Ivanka Trump and Donald Trump Jr., to testify about what they knew and when they knew it. Quote, Mr. Trump's actual knowledge of and intention to make the numerous misstatements and omissions made by him or on his behalf are essential components to resolving the Office of the Attorney General's investigation in an appropriate and just manner, the filing states, adding, likewise, Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka Trump worked as agents of Mr. Trump, acted on their own behalves, and supervised others in connection with the transactions at issue here. Their testimony is necessary for appropriate resolution of OAG's investigation as well, end quote. Then there, on the same day, was the Supreme Court, which allowed more than 700 documents from the presidential record to be sent to the U.S. House Committee investigating the attack on the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. As CNN noted of that, quote, the documents include activity logs, schedules, and speech notes, and 3 pages of handwritten notes from then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, paperwork that could reveal goings-on inside the West Wing as Trump supporters gathered in Washington and then overran the Capitol, disrupting the certification of the 2020 vote. It's worth noting here, Trump's legal team has opposed that release, citing executive privilege. Now, that day was bad. The next day, just as bad. In Georgia, the Fulton County District Attorney requested a special grand jury as part of an investigation into the former president's efforts to overturn the 2020 election results in the Peach State. Now, even one of those developments would be worrisome for Trump and those close to him. All 3 happening in roughly the space of 24 hours? Oh boy. Yeah. Plus, those 3 things are far from the only legal matters in which Trump finds himself currently entangled. Consider these. Number 1, the new Manhattan District Attorney told CNN in December that he plans to focus on the high-profile probe into Trump's business practices and may expand the investigative team looking into it. As CNN's Kara Scannell reported, quote, the investigation, which has been underway for several years, appears to be coming to a head with prosecutors focusing on the accuracy of the Trump Organization's financial statements when seeking financing. People familiar with the matter have told CNN, end quote. There's this. Number 2, E. Jean Carroll is alleging defamation in regards to her allegation that Trump raped her in the 1990s. Trump denied that allegation, saying, quote, she's not my type, which prompted Carroll's lawsuit. The case is still being litigated. In December, a 3-judge federal appeals court questioned lawyers for both Carroll and Trump. And there's this. Number 3, Mary Trump, the niece of the former president, and yes, the author of the scathing bestseller, Too Much and Never Enough, How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man, end quote, sued Trump in 2020, alleging that he, his sister, and his late brother had committed fraud to keep her from getting her fair share of the estate of Trump's father, Fred Sr. In January, a New York state judge heard Trump's request to dismiss that case. Now, that's a whole lot of legal exposure for the former president. And while it's not yet clear whether Trump or Don Jr. or Ivanka or his other close family members will be found culpable in any of these suits, it's also not a slam dunk that they won't be. Trump has long adopted a legal strategy of dragging out any and all proceedings for as long as he can, in hopes that A, people lose interest, and B, the other side folds, usually from lack of money to continue the legal wrangling. That strategy, though, seems unlikely to work this time around, with the likes of the U.S. House, the New York Attorney General, the Manhattan District Attorney, and the Fulton County District Attorney on the other side of the legal table from Trump. Now, Trump, ever the survivor, will downplay all of this as a witch hunt designed to hurt him politically. In fact, he already has done that in regards to the Georgia case. Quote, no more political witch hunts, he said in a statement from his Save America PAC. Witch hunts. But while Trump may be able to game the political end of this thing, these are real and complicated legal matters that he will not simply be able to dismiss with a cleverly worded statement. And that is the point. We make new point episodes